I'm so full
Right.
of rage.
Please!
I'm so angry.
I mean, like, if I be straight up, there's only some things that, like, actually trigger me. Like, you know, most of the time it's like, right, there's no need to be getting on like that. Like, you know, come on. Like, look, man, sort it out. You know? Look, anyway, look, you go for it, hit record and say when we're ready, alright?
I've been recording the entire time.
Oh, shit! No! Right, okay, so look, guys,
All of China knows you're cringe.
anything? No! Well, I might cut it out. Anyway, look, guys, before we jump into it, just want to say a big thank you to everyone who backed the Paper Mini Kickstarter. It was a very experimental Kickstarter. I wasn't too sure if it was going to work out well, but it has. Profitable, so that's pretty sweet, I must say. And I don't know if we're going to...
I like making money. I like it a lot.
Yeah, well, you know what? If you're going to do something, like, you know, and it's going to cost you money to produce and all the other stuff, at least make it so you actually get something back, and that's always great. You know, so that is true. So we are profitable, so I'm very happy with that. So yeah, thanks for that. I don't know if we're going to be doing more Paper Minis in the future. We definitely will be doing them as add-ons for books in the future, but I don't know if we're going to be doing them as standalone ones. But I've got a few ideas, and I don't really want to speak too soon because there's so many other projects, and I'm in the mood of I just have to get stuff done. I can't. Garbu, what would you describe it as? Like your creative process? I think I struggle with it as well. Where it's like manic creative.
More or less like brain always loud. You write down words make brain less loud, but brain just gets louder. That's how it works.
Yeah, that's what it feels like for me. So it is. It's like some days you'll get like 3 weeks work of stuff done in a day, and then you just get stuck on a standstill.
What's your process? I'm like, process?
I don't know, man.
What
The
process?
PDF just I kind of just put in the titles and stuff, and then I just work around that, and like I just kind of fill in bits.
My brain is so loud. It's like this.
Yeah. So anyway, look, thanks for that. Let's just jump into this. What is one word in gaming that makes you? What is it that makes you league, Garbo? For me, I think we've already been over it, and I honestly, because it makes me league, I don't even want to talk about it. Honestly, just like
do it. Talk about it.
See, like I'm not. Look, you guys already know. I don't like X cards. I don't like all that sort of stuff. I think, like, honestly, if someone has that much of a problem, they probably shouldn't be playing role-playing games. I think there's no problem with people just turning around and being like, look, guys, I don't really want to. I don't want to be involved in like the lolly brothel. That's. I'm just gonna top out. You know, I think there's a difference. I think there's a difference. Maybe sometimes, like, you know, okay, you know, you can maybe argue sometimes they're acceptable, but other times they're just
sometimes.
not. You know what? Just learn basic social skills, guys. I know it's hard. I struggle with it myself. I'm really bad at it, but just trust me, you'll get there. You will make it eventually. Anything for you, Garbo? What would your one be?
Well, I gotta stay with the meme and say player consent. That's not okay.
Yeah, that's quite. Well, it's obvious and easy one, you know. But metacurrency. What do they mean by metacurrency? Are they
I don't know,
about,
like an in-game currency or something like that, or
are they talking about, like, for instance, like maybe a luck mechanic or some way of like something you trade in game and outside of game? You know, have you ever seen those sort of ones? They're not the worst, honestly. Like,
well,
you know,
like
they're
good
kind of
boy
mild.
DM tokens. Like, please, sir, I have 2 DM good boy tokens.
You know what? That sounds like you know what? I think that gives me an idea. I give boy points. A give boy point system.
Good
Yes.
player points.
Yes. Once we're done with the deck of many triggers, a give boy point system, and I think that
Who's
would
a
be...
good player? It's you. You are. Who's a good player? Who's getting a
You know
good
what?
boy point? Me. I'm getting a good boy point.
Reminds me because so Aussie's learning to potty train at the minute, and Garbro. I sent Garbro a picture of some of his ex. No one would believe me. It's a huge man. What was it like?
It's like a fucking bullfrog, dude. It's one giant turd.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny. But the way we've been doing
Fucking
it is like anytime he uses a toilet, like, you know, like you get a wee sticker and you get a sweetie, and we after about a week or so we're like, right, well, enough of the sweetie, we'll just keep the sticker. It's like, oh, so you big boy now, you don't need sweetie. It's like big boy, big boy sweetie, and he kept going on and on. It's like, no,
I took a shit. Now give me a goddamn sucker.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. But hey, it's working. Yeah, it works. Like, he's using the toilet, so I'm pretty happy with that. But like, let's keep going. What else do we have here? Cutscenes.
So I don't know. There's nothing really wrong with cutscenes per se. Now, if the cutscene like gets really dragged out and their campaign is just fucking cutscenes, and yeah, you're gonna have players wanting to rip your goddamn head off.
I would argue. I think people confuse cutscenes a lot. I think there's like a few people that argue over it, but like they've kind of got different definitions. So for like me, I would argue like the definition of a cutscene would be DM set something up between like two different NPCs and players just don't interact with it at all, or it's just a removal of the player choice. It's like the DM has set this up. It's kind of like, in any video game, like what's the ultimate example? Final Fantasy VII, whenever your woman dies, but you've got all these resurrection potions. It's like that sort of thing. It's just like, don't be ridiculous. Why are you doing this to me?
Cutscenes can be considered railroading by a pretty large margin, I'd say. Because you can have scenes where you have set up dialogue and stuff, or set up actions, or it's not considered a cutscene. I think a lot of DMs borrow from video game cutscenes where no, you don't do anything. I have the talking stick, and like just completely like more or less monologue for half a fucking hour. Like that, to me, the term cutscene is incorrect. It should be called a monologue or a dialogue or some shit.
Yeah, or just like if what do you call it? Thingy dumping. What's the correct word?
Trauma dumping?
Well, yeah, that too. Exposition dumping.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I do that from time to time, just because I think it's easier. Like, I give the players a basic idea of what they're getting in for, but then I would just kind of like have an NPC that would just dump like the basic must-know information on them, and then let them deal with it as they will. A lot of times the players just end up killing them for whatever reason. And I don't know why. And it's been a running theme. Well, it's been a running theme for the last wee while. All these characters that dump exposition is Joey Diaz, and I don't know why. I just think it's really funny. But look, let's get into this. Do you guys have anything that you consider just? Yeah.
The most ancient lore.
Yeah, that's a good.
Is it Scub or Scoob?
I would call it Scub. I always thought it was Scub.
Scub. It's like a great thing. Yeah. It's like a little vial that says Scub. People are beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. So it is.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, like scroll. Like, nah, you can't scroll up.
Where is
right
it?
There.
Realistic. Honestly, sometimes I think. What would your views be on realistic? Because sometimes realistic can be like some people that really get into it are just they're just annoying at this point. Like, okay, perfect example. I really do enjoy. I love the idea of running something that's historically accurate, but I don't have the temperament or the players to be able to ever do something that's historically accurate that doesn't turn into a shitpost. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Garbu, let's be serious. Do you have the mental fortitude to not turn anything into a shitpost?
I think I've done a good job so far in some regards. I'm not perfect, but I did okay. I think.
Yeah, but I think we all suffer from that, to a certain extent. Like, I think a lot of people always like to be like, oh no, we're going to make it super realistic, super this, super that. It's like you're never going to achieve that.
Well, the thing is, in real life, when you're actually doing the stuff, people don't realize that even in real life, like soldiers will be shit posting mid-battle, for God's sakes. Like, you be in a fucking firefight and you'd be like, hey, these nuts. In the middle of an entire fucking firefight, someone's going to say some dumbass shit, and you're all laughing as bullets are stepping overhead and shit. Like, that's completely normal.
So what you really said is shitposting is in fact a way of life.
It is a way of living. It's not a lifestyle. It's a cultural choice where you just embrace the shit post. Remember, you cannot be cringe if you kill the neck inside you.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Oh, this is a good one. How do you feel about checkpoints? Ooh.
Checkpoints? What do you mean by checkpoints? Like player checkpoints?
So, yeah. So say for instance, you're running the game and you just know it's went to shit and something really stupid's happened and you've got no way of relighting it. You've got no way of getting back to where it is you kind of had in your mind. And it's like, can we just forget the session ever happened and we'll just start again next week back where we were the time before? What do you? I'm kind of mixed on that. to a certain extent.
I mean,
kind of makes. I feel like most of the time you just shouldn't do it. I think you should just let it. I've done it. I'll be straight up. I once did a checkpoint and I regretted it ever since. You know what I mean?
Well, it gives too much of a safety net to idiots. We're like, we'll send it if anything fucks up. Let's go back to our checkpoint. It's kind of like a safety net where there shouldn't be a safety net. Like,
yeah, I would agree.
I kind of get why, if you're like a really young group of players who are like, we're just kind of feeling it out, you know, where you might want to have a checkpoint. Like, I get it, but I'm not like into it, you know.
Yeah, it wouldn't be something that I would strongly recommend against. But I do think it's something that, like, look, it worked for me. I did it once and I regretted it ever since. It was one of those ones where I was like, yeah, I just shouldn't have bothered. That was just a bad idea.
What have I done?
Yeah, well, it wasn't like that. It was just a bad thing. It was just a bad move. You know what I mean?
It kind of takes the threat off the shoulders of the players, you know, like, no matter how bad we do, hey, we got our checkpoint before I bang the lizard barman. She tears my face off, you know. Like, it's just, I just don't think I don't think it's a healthy thing for the game you're trying to play, because I get it, but at the same time, it's like,
no, I would be okay with it only if, say, for instance, you were at the end of a 2-year-long campaign. Right? So say you've been playing a game for a very long time, you're finally at the end, and the last session goes a certain way. If the players turned around and asked, you know, could we do that again, but could we do it slightly differently just to see what would happen? You know, just for that curiosity factor. I wouldn't be opposed to that if someone asked that. What would your view be? I'm not saying it, like, let's say they were successful anyway. Like, you know, it's not like everyone died at the end. It wasn't like it was a bad ending. It was just people were curious of what other way they could have taken it.
I mean, all things should end in.
Yeah,
like this is not a video game. You can't just like re-upload the code and it's all back. You gotta like pull all your notes back out. You got, like, it'd be a huge pain in the dick for me, and I'd be like, no.
Yeah,
this is your ending. Get over it. I want to do something else, because because say you're like a 3-year campaign, you want to revert to 2 fucking years ago. No, what do you have your fucking mind? Like,
no, I wouldn't go that far. I'm more talking about like final decision making sort of stuff, like very end. Like I'm talking like replaying the last session. Just, I'm not saying go back like weeks or months. You know,
I don't know. Like I'd just be like, no. You got your ending. It's what you get. This is not a goddamn video game. You can't just like pull up your last quick save before you fight the boss.
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those ones. But again, well, you know what? The only like long campaign we had, like, you know, I was happy with the end, and I don't think I would have. Like, okay, Line of the Frost Maiden, it kind of went south at the end. We all kind of made a hack of it. It was, I would argue, below par. It was not a bad ending per se. I survived. I didn't die, so I was quite happy with that. I'm shocked. But I would have been curious to go back and see what else would have happened. But at the same time, would that have ruined the ending that we already had just to experiment, you know? And there was so many stuff already in place. We had already laid the groundwork. There would have been pointless just to go back and like try and retread that sort of stuff.
I'm still saying no.
Yeah, no.
I'm jaded and I'm angry. No.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you on. This is a good one here. What do you think? It's just tank.
Oh yeah.
You know what?
A lot of DMs fall into the RPG mindset of, okay, this guy's a tank, I'll attack him first. No, unless that creature is able to have its entire attention consumed by that one player, it's gonna go, you're pretty tough, you're obviously another predator, but that busty elf chick who has a staff, she ain't fucking predator at all. You know, it's one of those things where a lot of DMs, they I swear to God, they build this shit. Okay, I'm the tank. Are you? How? Tell me how.
Yeah.
How are you gonna tank me? You know, like other been times where, like, in the Veil Rider game, there's Hans, who's our big ass fucking Goliath, melee armor wearer. He's like, I'm a tank. All right, AP rounds. You know, like you can't be the tank in an RPG game that's not on a fucking World of Warcraft or Baldur's Gate or some of the bullshit, like, I'm the tank, I want to tank the dragon. Dragon literally kicks you out of the way and goes, yummy softies,
Yeah.
Like,
there is some, like, so there's some feats, Sentinel and whatnot, which I think doesn't help matters when it comes to, like, the whole concept of a tank. But, like, yeah, you've got goals, but they're not hard goals. Does that make sense? Just because someone plays, for instance, like a Cleric of Light, I don't think shoeboxes them in to a quote-unquote healer. Does that make sense? Or
I think even like you can have people who heal, but wouldn't call them the healer.
No, they just happen to be able to do that, and you could definitely argue that the same with like a tank, someone who's particularly beefy, someone who has high armor class, high health points, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, you make them beefy, but they'd have some means of doing it, but it's just like, you know what? It's just video games. Video games have just infected role-playing games, and I kind of always wonder who was it first, because video games and role-playing games are kind of like about the same age. Like, they're not too far off. So, like, people that have been playing role-playing games have also been playing video games the entire time, and I kind of always wonder how much influence each other has on each other. You know what I mean?
Well, let's be quite fair here. We all know that everyone starts out playing video games, all right?
Yeah.
And it kind of poisons or plants in the mind this is how a video game works, when they don't understand that tabletop RPG games are not video games. So I wish people would understand what an RPG game is. So I'll let you go first, and I want you to tell me what you think a tabletop RPG game is.
What would this is hard. Don't give me that elevator pitch. All right, to me, what an RPG game is getting together with the guys and rolling some dice and having a cohesive world with each other. The DM is to, not an orchestra per se, but they are to. I prefer the old term. You know what? And I think it's a better term instead of dungeon master. I think we should have kept with the term referee, because really that's more what they are, a referee, or that's what I think they should be referred to more. Is that fair to say? But I don't know. How would you describe a role-playing game, like, quickly and easily?
I don't know
if I'm even. I don't know if I'm capable.
It is a subplantation of reality. When you go to a table, you're no longer yourself. You're playing. You have to be in the mindset of you're playing as someone else in an entire other world, and you have to treat it as if it is a person. Like, it's why I hate consent in fucking RPG games. Like, you don't get consent. You are this person in another world. You can't stop your guy from getting killed just because you don't like it. You're playing as a life. So it's basically like when you're playing Mario, you have 7 lives, or when you're playing Gears of War, you have you can just simply reload. In this game, you have one chance, one life. It's why I love WoW Hardcore Classic. You have one fucking chance, one take at a life. And when you're doing this, you are playing a game, sure, but you're playing in a story. You are making the story of Avaglax, the fucking orc barbarian or some shit. You're making that story. You're making that life. And you have to treat it as such. This isn't I hate people who try and use it as a thing to win. You are creating a story and parroting a life on puppet strings through a theater that the DM has made. And that's how you have to treat it. You're not, I mean, I'm not saying you can't have fun with it. I'm not saying like, uber serious, because over serious is fucking just as bad as not serious. But a lot of players get this mindset that they're playing a game. Yes, you're playing a game, but it's a game based around a life that you're creating and parroting that life through a theater. So and yes, there are funny games, there are serious games, there are a mixture of games, but you can't act like it's a video game, because it's not. Nothing's pre-written. A video game is, for all intents and purposes, entirely pre-written. A video game is coded to begin and end in a certain way. And your character that you're playing in a video game is not your own, really. It's a set of code that's been pre-written.
Yeah.
all like even in Skyrim, no matter what race you make, no matter what background you give them, it's all going to be the exact same, with a few things changed by your paths. With D&D or Pathfinder or the Veil Rider game or the Clash one you're making or the World War I one you're making, it doesn't matter what you're using, you are creating a person and you are puppeting that person through decisions that you would never have to make in your real life. The best thing about any of these games is that you're forced to make decisions that you're likely never going to have to make. It allows you to explore those decisions. Now, what I fucking hate is consent, and I'll tell you why this. In real life, if someone's gonna fucking hit you with their goddamn car and T-bone you, you can't turn and go, no, you can't do that. I don't want it to happen. It's not how that works. The same happens in the game. If you fuck up, you're gonna get stabbed in your fucking face. Your decisions brought you there. That's the spark of these games. Your decisions with this one life you created have all come to this point where either you beat down the dragon or you save the princess or you get stabbed in the face by a fucking meth head in a fucking capital city. It doesn't matter. You brought it there. And you have to learn to live with those decisions and how the DM makes it come out. DM, GM, CC, whatever. Yeah. So it's why I cannot stand these and do air quotes, people who believe they can have X cards. Nope, I don't want it to happen. You come to these games knowing full fucking well what your job is. Your job is to make the best decisions you can with the environment given. And when you remove the threat of things you don't like happening, you are no longer playing the game. You are having a power fantasy to make yourself feel better. And that's not what the games are about. The games are a collaborative storytelling effort. The three main words: collaborative storytelling effort. Those are the big main three words.
I think that would be the best way I've heard someone put it into like an elevator pitch, you know. And it's like it's one of those ones that, you know. I think the problem that we really have is people disagree with core fundamentals of what it really is, you know. And like, you know, for instance, for most people, like, you know, they can't think if it's like I suppose it always just goes back to critical role, doesn't it? You know, it always goes back. It does though. It does every time. It's just like I want to play critical role. I want to play just like
I want to draw dicks and books like Jester.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, let's keep going. Oh, that's the one that I see a lot of people garn about. Session 0. Okay, right. See Session 0. If you're playing with people that you actually know and you've been playing for like a decent amount of time, there's zero reason for Session 0. I just don't see the point. Just like put up, like, this is what we're going to be playing. Put it into the group chat. This is the basic idea. This is kind of like where I'm going. You guys just go wild. Like, you know, this is kind of like what I've got an idea of for like a party composition. So if any of you guys want to do that would be great. If not, you know, try not to make anything too stupid. Like, you know, at least make it like believable within universe for this. For instance, like, you know, let's say we're going to play Dark Heresy, please, and we're going to play as like Inquisitors. Please do not roll up some from our fucking heretic, man, because that ain't going to fly. Do you know what I mean? Whereas, like, you know, if it's complete random people that you've never really came across before, even in the term Session 0, I don't think you really need it. I think you should just like maybe spend like half an hour before the game starts. Like, like
not a whole session. Like, hey, an hour. All right, boys, here's what we're doing. Where your character's at. All right, well, you know, like, I think the best kind of game is where you show up. You, all right, GM, what are we doing? We're doing this. Yeah. Give me your character sheets. All right, we're all good, and you just take off. None of this faffing about.
I don't get the hatred for Session Zeros per se. I just don't think they're needed when it comes to people that you actually know. See, if I was like, Garbo, see if you asked me to come to your Session Zero, I'd be like, is it really important? Like, why? What is it? Like, do you want like specific characters? If you like play lit in the characters or something, and you just want to hand out the character sheets, like, what's the deal?
So
I would be a bit like, why?
It should be treated as make sure this meeting can be an email. You know, like,
yeah. Honestly, it could be cut down to an email. Unironically,
like, all right, here are the bullet points. Any questions? No, good, and then you're off. Like, a Session Zero should take a session. I should have an Irish coffee this morning. Holy fuck! Session 0 should only take about. Truly only 25 minutes.
Yeah, honestly, under half an hour, that's all you need. And like, honestly, it's only really for people that you've never played with before in your entire life. And like, I just don't think you should need to be going over everything back to back. And if you do,
the problem is
you're playing with people that you probably shouldn't be playing with anyway.
No. See, the modern session zero is everyone trauma dumping. Like, I just don't want to see someone without a leg or some bullshit. Like, it should be.
Yeah.
Of course, that comes back to don't give people consent in this shit. Like, I don't want to see this. Well, tough shit. You're playing a war game, but like, it'd be like someone playing a Valor and going, "Well, I don't want to see someone get shot." Like, bitch, do you know why you're here? Like,
yeah, you're in the long game, mate. I don't know what to tell you. You're not going to do too good. You know what? I'll bring it up because I've spoken about it before. But I had that same problem with Tess playing Death March. Death March, it's World War One set.
Thank you, Death March. I was the one starting.
It's a meat grinder, right? But it's World War One. World War One was in fact a meat grinder, and I'm trying to replicate that. So don't get too attached to your player, like to your characters, because they will just die. Like, the longest I've had someone survive is 3 sessions back to back, and I don't even know how, because the guy was doing stupid shit, and I mean like really stupid shit the entire way through it. Like, I just couldn't get over his dice. His dice was the only thing that stopped him from dying, if I be completely honest with you. But like, just like, I suppose this is the thing though, isn't it? Like, like, these are, you know what, actually, maybe we slag off Wizards for bringing out shit books. Maybe they know exactly their customer base by putting out stuff like the Radiant Citadel. Maybe they know better. Yeah, but the thing is, that's what people that play 5e want. They want Radiant Citadel. So,
dude, 5e is gonna be like the slash poll containment cell for all these fucking trauma players. Like, my mom died, so I want to see people die. Then why are you here?
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Oh, sweet Jesus.
XP is literally currency in some games. In the video world, Souls games and their derivatives use the same resource to level up and purchase consumable items. Souls and Dark Souls, Haze Code, etc. So I guess it's one of those things with like XP or like...
Yeah, metacurrency we're back to. Honestly, look, see, when it comes to like leveling up, I don't actually even do it anymore. I prefer because the problem that I've got is builds. I think that's my biggest. That's actually, to me, probably the one that drives me. Actually, I think this is a good example. I don't like builds. I don't like the idea of people being like, "Oh, I'm going to play this, and I know exactly what I'm going to take, exactly what level, because it's arguably the best to take." And it's like, well, you're not wrong, but again, should you've planned this out? That's not a good way to do it. So what I've done instead is I've made you do get better, but it's your own choice on what way you want to get better. There's a lot more variables when it comes to like improving your character, and there's no like direct path per se, if that makes any sense. It's just a bit of a nightmare, I think, like, honestly. And I don't know, I think it's a complete player issue when it comes to builds. I don't think is there anything you could do? Like, Garb, how would you handle like someone that has a specific build in mind of how they're exactly going to play the game?
I mean, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with having builds, but that's a DM is a way to get around those builds. You work around them. Like, well, so it's like having like Hans. Hans is an absolute brick shithouse in the current Valor game. He's like DR fucking 37, which basically he's basically an armored vehicle at this point. Yeah. But it's like LOL grenade, because grenades just ignore armor. They're fucking splash damage. There's always a way around the build, and if you can't think your way around. If you can't think your way around builds and like getting around them, then you just kind of suck. You need to get better. Like, use the tools at your command. Like he may I have all this armor and all this shit. Well, if you fall down a fucking giant pit that's like 30 feet down, you're gonna fucking break their goddamn legs. And nice build, bro. Like, it's just. Or like, I'm a major build thing, and like say you have a player who's like really smug and like, well, I win every combat, and you just poison them.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's like LOL poison whiskey. Fuck you, you're dead. Like, because I guarantee they're gonna check. They're not gonna check the wine the busty barmaid brings them. Oh, Mr. Hero, you're such a great, fantastic fighter. Here's some free wine. Well, thank you, busty titty McBarmaid, and then they drink it and die. Like, it's not hard.
Of course, Garp always got on with the psyopses. Always got on with the psyopses.
Always. You know me.
Here, what's this one?
All right, hold on.
Oh, falling forward. Here we go. Let's go with it.
I have
let's go with this one.
I have a big opinion on this. Hold on, I got ice in my face.
Let me screenshot this.
Yeah, so I have a big opinion on failing forward. That I guess like apparently the OSR guys on Twitter are like, how could you say that? I'm like, would you guys shut the fuck up? Like,
the problem with the OSR guys is they're forever running purity tests on each other. Like the big one
that fucking hatred on TG had me laughing.
Oh no, the worst one is definitely the argument that they had a few months back over ascendant or descendant values and like using THACO and AC and all that sort of stuff. It's like, man, this is not really like, and it's like fully grown men. Like see people in like the 30s, 40s, 50s.
Yeah,
like
it's
fully grown men with like
it's
families
kind of fucking
and stuff.
sad.
And it went on for about a week and a half. It was the gayest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm not even joking. Like, there's some things that you can argue about online, and there's other things it's like, yeah, I just don't care. And you know what?
You
don't even
painfully gay.
and you don't even play in my game, so I don't even care. And also, the other thing is, I don't even like AC that much. I think it's a bad system. I think, like, for me, to be able to hit something is different from your armor. Armor, to me, is a damage sponge. It soaks up damage.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, you're wearing a helmet and you get banged over the head with a hammer. You're still going to get hit over the head with a hammer. It's just not going to hurt as much. You know what I mean?
So that's what we do in the Valor game. So armor increases your DR, right? So it's harder to hurt that person. When you do hurt them, the armor absorbs some of that damage.
Yeah.
Like because plate armor is not wearing a goddamn breastplate and you're naked. You're wearing a breastplate and a pad and a fucking underlayer. It's layers of stuff. Yeah. Anyway, so we'll do we'll start at the very top here. So top. Go top. Do it.
Right, okay, go for it.
So build dip. If you want to play with character design in a white room, start GMing. The moment you start playing an actual game, your character development has to reflect the world in general and in the region / place specific with all the consequences and prerequisites each choice implies.
I agree with that. That's my big problem with builds. I would agree with him completely on that.
Builds don't really matter. It's gonna maybe a hot take, but builds don't matter in RPG games because unless you're playing to win and unless the DM's playing it like a war game where there's no story, just combat, then sure, builds probably matter a lot. But in a story game where I can slip you poison because in a fucking like rectal cavity or some shit, like it just doesn't matter. Your build's great when I have combat in my game, but there's more than just combat to the game. There's intrigue, there's mystery and all that shit. Like I love doing fucking dick games where you're all.
It sounds a lot like you've never met a coffee lock before.
Fuck's sakes, shut up.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about coffee locks.
I know.
I'm talking about the most stupid shit you've ever seen in your life. You know what I mean? Like, we've already talked about it. Let's keep going. Well, I don't want to get on.
D&D code definitions when playing other games. No, TNs for rolls aren't DC or AC. No, your character isn't C/G. There's no alignment here. No, the conditional bonuses / malices aren't advantage, etc. Failing forward. Okay. It's an incentive.
So what is it? Explain to me what failing forward is, because I've seen a lot of people talk about it, but frankly, I don't care enough about it to even like look that much into it.
So I'll read his post and we'll get into it. So he says it's just an incentive for ADHD GM bad habit at calling for rolls when irrelevant. Every time a roll is involved, the GM should understand clearly both implications and failing succeeding beforehand. So that's honestly fucking wrong in my opinion. But failing forward is something horrible happens, but it's not as bad as it could be. You could still fail forward through the storyline or fail forward into something else. Like you have a guy, like say you're like as an old example that I'm going to twist. Say you have a guy fall through a fucking floor. A false floor, falls down, fucking dies. But the players go down to get his body and they find some gear. So failing forward appears to be a contentious subject with the bro-SR community for whatever fucking reason. Failing forward is not bad. It's only bad if you overuse it. You can use failing forward maybe 4 times an entire campaign. You can't use it every fucking time.
Yeah.
I think they believe that people like me try and say that you should be always failing forward. Don't let your players be sad. No, failing forward is a simple tool you can use when you want to in order to keep player from being too crushed by failure. Because failure after failure after failure, crushing failure can make your players just not want to play anymore. You can you can alleviate some of that crushing depression by having them simply fail forward into something, whatever that might be. Like they fail forward into meeting a new NPC that can help them, or a piece of gear, or a storyline, whatever you want to fail forward into. Failing forward is just a tool. It is a simple tool, no different than NPCs or MacGuffins. It's just a tool. Failing forward can help your players stay engaged in the game and not fall to despair and start calling out from the game. Like if you have a player group which just has terrible dice luck, right? It happens.
Yeah.
If you keep going like that, don't be surprised. It's like oh, I have a thing I got to go to, or oh, oof, I have an appointment I can't make this week, and suddenly you don't see a player for 5 months. So
yeah,
like people get too wrapped up in being, and they always jump to conclusion. Well, you just want to always fail forward. You just don't like having failure, do you? No, retard. It's just a tool. And I swear to God, it's always the brosaurus. You just hate failure. You're no better than the D&D players. And they start pissing and shitting themselves. No, it's just a tool.
I don't know. The Bluesar guys are kind of funny sometimes, at least. Like, you know, they do rustle some feathers. I'll give them that, at least. Like, you know, they do come off with some funny ones from time to time. But like, I don't know. It's like, so for you guys who don't understand what the Bluesar is, essentially they like follow Gary Gygax's rules to like rules as written. No matter what, it's like goal 0 to them is heresy, quite frankly, and Gygax's goals is, for lack of a better term, gospel. You know, it's kind of weird, but like, you know, like if that's the way they enjoy playing.
I am surprised there's any skin left on his dick for how hard they suck it at this point.
Yeah.
So literally a fucking single vein left is flopping in the fucking wind.
Yeah, Garbo, expect a threat about you soon enough.
Again, another one, yeah.
Garbro is the worst guy for tabletop RPGs ever.
Yeah, right, let's keep going. Fate, hero, inspiration, Benny's, karma points.
Benny's.
Benny's? What are they from? Benny's are from something.
Benny's is an army term for Benny's is an army term for benefits. Like, I got the Benny's.
It's like neat then.
Yeah, I don't dislike metacurrencies per se, but they are a lazy design solution that should be at least thought well in order to get thought out well in order to get a pass from me. E.g. Conan 2D20 Momentum Doom is an example of passable metacurrency implementation. So anytime I see a game that overtly uses that, I'm instinctively thrown back. I have motivation in my game, which is a reward for RP. You get a single motivation counter where you can spend that for like an effect or something like that. But metacurrencies, like fate, I've heard a lot of shit about fate points, where like you can kind of like bank up fate and then it does something. Like
I'm alright with it. Like I use luck for Dice and Demons.
Oh, luck, yeah.
And I've got like a grip version of it for Death March. So the example I have is, so once per session, say for instance, you just, if only we had this, that'll bring the whole plan together. Like, okay, good example.
Yeah.
Like a good example is, say you're on the like everyone else is dead, you're the last person, and you really need this hit. You really need to make sure you get this hit. I would then, like, the group can decide, okay, do you want everyone give them advantage on this? And that's like your luck burnt for the session. Like, that's the way I would use it. Like, you know, or maybe, I would really wish there was like the enemies were standing beside a big lead flammable barrel. That would have been really handy right about now. do you know what I mean? Or like, I need to make a getaway. You know what? I saw some horses. They were all saddled up, ready to go outside. You just need to unhook them. Yeah, that's pretty handy. Great that just happens to be there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like that sort of stuff. Like, you know, it's just something like, you know, you're not changing the game per se. It's just if there was just that one piece of the puzzle, everything just comes together, you know? And again, because Death March is such a brutal game, I think it's more than fair to give that to them, because I mean, people die one hits all the time in Death March, so like, what else is there to say about that? Let's keep going.
Just
MMO,
in, guns kill people.
Yeah. Oh, no, I shouldn't talk about that. That's all leech at the minute, isn't it? Something about mean. I don't know, guys.
So, Jesus, don't get me started.
No, not allowed to talk about that here.
Yeah, so
I've already got a wording on my channel, so I do at the minute.
Yeah, so I want to real quick, like, so my things is motivation dice, right? And they only add a 1d4 to your roll. That's all they do.
Oh yeah. Well, then there you go. It's the same as like Bardic Inspiration, then. You know what I mean? Like, what's the deal? Like,
so the thing is, there's two kinds. I have warrior motivation and theft motivation, and like, so say you're really good in combat, you're doing things properly, you get a warrior motivation die. So you have to add a 1d4 to a damage or whatever have you. While theft is all about like role play and that kind of shit. So you can do it. It's a meta currency, but simply an extra die you get, you can just pop out whenever you want to. All right. Anyway,
right. Skip over the MMO.
Here we go.
DPS tank healer.
Yeah, we've already discussed that.
Yeah, we already talked about that. I don't like our story character narrative arcs.
Unless,
you know what?
Yeah, so unless you're playing a straight story game, unlike those gay games, am I right, kids? You are misusing the concept in TTRPGs, which are a tangent but a different kind of games altogether. Generally speaking, the story is emergent, and narrative arcs only works as introduction to the whole modules. You can't have them forced in the actual meat of the game unless you're willing to alter them constantly as you go, which is a band-aid solution that may lead to poor results, loss of immersion, and trivialization of the narratives as a whole. So, like, some characters, like, well, I'm just saying, you've seen, like, the overly cooked, like, personal story, right? Or, like, that, like, my background's, I'm an ancient line of kings. Oh, fuck off. Like,
yes, no, yeah, that's a good point.
I killed 5 dragons when I was 5. Yeah, you're a level 1 adventurer. That makes sense, bro.
Please, stop.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Fuck,
yeah,
man.
Just go for it. 5e. Just 5e.
Yeah, just 5e. Like, the word got completely hijacked by D&D 5th edition humongous spread. I am humongous. To the point that any game having a 5th edition gets instinctively assumed to be a D&D hack.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that. You know what? It's see if you're like playing randomers and you want to play something else, just say like, oh yeah, this is just like 5e, guys. What do you mean? It's a TD10 system. No, it's totally like 5e, guys. What are you talking about? No, James, this is GURPS. What are you talking? Like, no, man, this is just like 5e.
This is GURPS.
No, man, this is 5e. Like, you know, like like honest to God, the problem that I've got with 5e is it's a lifestyle brand, people. It's the people that refuse to even try anything else. If you play it and you're happy, who's anyone to say you're not doing the right job? You know what I mean?
The thing is, I will judge them regardless. But yes, if you're happy, sure.
Yeah, pretty much. I agree with that. If you're happy, you know what? Like, but again, I suppose you could also argue there's a lot of fucking people happy in couple relationships, so you know that's a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going. We'll do 1 or 2 more, will we?
Sure. HP points. A lot of people have problems with HP points. All
right.
So
you know what? I get it. I do get it. I like okay. Hit points are kind of hard to represent in real life because, like, do humans really have hit points per se? Like, how do you measure them? They're a bit more abstract, and I get why people aren't the biggest fan of them. I don't mind them. I think they work within reason. The worst offender, I would argue, is sanity points, though. There's no way you can put a metric on someone's, like, brain. I just don't think
psyche,
you can. Yeah, I think like the idea of adding like a number system to someone's psyche just doesn't work. But for health, it's like it's the best we've got, and I've yet to see a better version of hit points. Like have you ever seen it?
I'm sure you try and reinvent the wheel, make it to where, you know, like each body part has, I don't know, a pool of damage. I mean, HP points should be mostly used as a vague way of showing how hurt you are. Like, say you get shot in the chest and it takes away 100 HP, like you have a sucking fucking chest wound, bro. But I just
you could argue that like health points are mixed in with willpower and determination and everything else.
because I
that goes
know
into that.
some games use Constitution as an HP point, but that's no different than fucking HP points at that point.
Yeah, it's just just a different word on it. I don't know. Like it's one of those ones. It's you're reinventing the wheel by like going about hit points. If I see a version that's better, I'll definitely look at it. But at this moment in time, I don't see another way to go about hit points. If I'm honest,
there has to be some way to track how damaged you are, and I know that there has to be at least one way to track how hurt that character is.
Yeah,
and it's just like what's the best way to do that? So it's like hit points are just simple. They're just they're nice and simple. You have a set number. Once it's 0 or negative, you fucking die. I know one is where like they have a vitality system, you know. Where, where basically you lose vitality. There's also like critical hits where like in some games a critical hit will remove a limb or some shit. Like, oh, you got 20, you roll on a chart and see which part of your limb gets blopped away or whatever the fuck else. There is also like an assassination rule where like if you hit, they just fucking die, which seems a bit like, it's a pose. Because I know, like, there's one game, it's an old game, where, like, you got an attack, right, and you roll a 20, and if you roll a 1 on that roll on the table, you just behead the dude and kill him. Like, one shot.
Well, I've got that with tables.
Well, which is great until you realize you're fighting a dragon, and how the fuck do you just cut a dragon's goddamn head off? Because it's like twice the size of your fucking body. Like that's like I guess.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those ones. Like, so for me, my you know what? I'm not going to get into that. That'll take me too long to explain. It's look, we're trying to talk about reinventing the wheel here, and I don't think either of us are very capable of doing that.
Wow, thanks, James.
Well, look, okay, you know what?
Wow.
I'll tell you guys. I'll give you guys an example of a project I had to give up on, and I haven't given up on it completely because I will go back to it, but I just don't know how to continue with it. So a lot of you guys will really want it, and I really want to do it. It's Unga Bunga Stones and Sorcery.
Oh,
and Garb, you tell me you don't want to play a caveman game? Come on, you know you want to play a caveman game.
Yes, level 2 stick.
But the problem is, how do you convert a good, like, have you ever seen a crafting system in a tabletop RPG done well?
Oh yeah, I've seen them done well. I have. The thing is, they take 4 times the time than just saying you make a thing. So there are some games they're like centered around crafting. But the thing is, the game becomes completely bogged down by time spent crafting.
Yeah, and that's the problem. It's just I feel like if you're playing a caveman game, crafting is such an important aspect of every caveman life that to not do a good job with a crafting system, you wouldn't be doing the setting justice at all. And I don't want to make something that'll just bog the game down and be like, oh, I got a stick, I got a stone, roll some dice. Oh, your stone broke. Sorry, start again. You know what I mean? I don't want to do resource management that heavily and all that sort of stuff. But how do I go about that? I don't know. I'm thinking about, what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments, because I could start working on Unga Bunga Stones and Sorcery, because pretty much it's all Dice and Demons, in my view, is like pretty much done. It just needs to go out for test playing, but like the core fundamentals are finished. I could rework it to do Unga Bunga Stones and Sorcery very, very easily. So if that's something you guys are interested in, the only problem is I do feel like crafting should be a thing, and I don't really want to have it just be like, oh, you just need to find X, Y, and Z items, and there you go, you can make that now. Does that make sense? I kind of would like something better, but I don't know how. I don't know. Look, will we finish up? Anything else to go over? Anything at all?
I mean, I'm sure.
Okay, you know what?
How could you guys say that? I will say it out loud. It's like a lot of things that people like hold dear to with like GURPS and stuff. It's just honestly shit. I don't know why I don't move on with it. Like I get why like GURPS and Broas are like, oh my god, because they can fit into anything, but it's not great. I mean, it's still shit. Like I don't understand this cult-like adherence to fucking OSR. Like GURPS is great for like everyone because you use it in any setting, right? It's a generic universal role-playing system, which is fine. But like I don't want generic. I don't want generic. I don't want dollar store. I want like Target. You know, like it's a zoom in on a single system that's really good for that system. Because sure, you can put a 4-cylinder engine in a fucking truck, but it won't run very well. Now will it? Like it'll still move, but it's not gonna be great.
Yeah, I suppose you're not wrong there. I don't know. I really enjoy OSR systems. They are kind of mixed and varied. They're roughly compatible. That's the only thing I would say. They are roughly compatible. But I would argue most role-playing games, you could argue, are roughly compatible within reason. You just need to like get good and work out how to like convert some of the stuff, and even then don't get hung up on exact conversion rules, you know what I mean? Like, you know, just kind of like, yeah, that kind of sounds about right for this game, you know what I mean? I could make that work, sort of thing. I don't know.
You can make most things work, sure. You make it work, it's fine. But like making it work is like saying, well, I have no tent, but I got this tarp. Like, yeah, sure, it'll keep the rain off of you, but you're gonna be fucking sucking wind the entire time. Like, well, the wind's off me, but the snakes can still get inside my boots, and I got a spider inside my fucking underwear. Like it's not great.
Yeah, it's not ideal. Not ideal. What do you guys think? What's the one that like triggers you guys? Is there anything that you've came in contact with? Is it the dreaded DM player character? Is it guys called Larry that ask you to suck their dick? Is it you know, that was a great story. I really enjoyed that story time, by the way. If you guys haven't watched that story time, just go watch it. Is it your players forming an entire team of Aloha snack bar players? Yeah. You know, what is it that gets you? Is there anything that's just like, oh my god, please make the pain go away? For me, it's just consent stuff again. Like I think, but we've talked about it so much, I don't want to bring it up anymore. I feel like it's living rent free in my brain at this point, and I just need to let it go. You know.
It's living rent free in my brain.
It's
just there inside me.
It is, and you know what? I just need to let it go, because no matter what, the people I can't call them what I would actually call them, but the people that use these, they're not going anywhere anytime soon, or at least they won't go until it's like everything's like completely fucking slop. You know, they just
can't let God do all the work, boys.
Like, I don't want to say anything before, because I'm going to get myself into trouble, and I've already got a strike of this channel. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. I couldn't tell you what else to say. I'm going brain dead already just thinking about these things. Oh, sweet Jesus. Oh yeah, Paper Minis, thanks for backing them. Did really well. Anything, Garbo? Anything at all?
No.
Alright, hope you guys enjoy it. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.